takes 3 hours of executive session for 2 hours. A little long. But at this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Tuesday, October 18th, regular meeting of Ramapo Central School District Board of Education. We can all please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Student report. Welcome.
Hi everyone. There are various activities and events that are going on in Summer Festival right now. USO is initiating a blood drive that is currently in its planning stages. It looks like as of now it will be in December. We will have more information as time gets closer. History of Sports will be having a program from the Baseball Hall of Fame in the past. This was set up by Mr. Kaplan and Mr. Terry. They came into contact with the president of the Baseball Hall of Fame. In addition, there will be a History Honor Society presidential debate next week, where students will be able to view candidates playing the role of candidates with proper information provided to the audience. Cambridge class, which I am part of, will be doing proposals for their paper number 4. Mr. Kaplan and Ms. Minnick will be meeting up to set up a Big Brother, Big Sister program with year 1 and year 2 students. There will be a feedback provided both ways. Also, besides proposals, Cambridge will be doing presentations for the Ramapo Central School community, and emails will be sent out. USO had added more board positions. There are new class representatives, a secretary, and a PR people. On Thursday, October 27th, there will be the World Language Honor Society induction. The JV girls soccer team had 1 loss, but will be playing in sectionals. We had another college day recently, college table day recently. The PSATs were given this past Saturday and was very successful. The football team had a game on Saturday night against Austin and Southern won. Lastly, the Superstars competition will be this Friday. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. I didn't let the record reflect all board members present. All right, minutes of the regular meeting of September 20, 2016. Chair would entertain a motion to accept those minutes as listed. Anybody? I'm sorry, Ron. Clark? All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Abstentions?
I'll abstain.
Abstain. Superintendent's comments.
Marching band, Mr. Schwartz, would you introduce some of your members?
Sure.
Make it smile.
So these are some of the officers of the Suffolk Marching Band. Down that way, we have Paige Wolfson, Hannah Diamond, Kelsey Negron, Kylie Grossmark, our drum major, Nick Colorito, Matt Crane, Christian Velez, and Jonna Izzo. These are the brand new uniforms that we just unboxed earlier this September, and wanted to show them off a little bit, and we also wanted to say how much we appreciated all the support and these amazing uniforms, because they're not cheap, but they are high quality and will last a really long time, and they certainly are being appreciated by the students and by the directors for sure. Each officer, just as an extra, we have our cords signifying their office. We have our shakos, which are in their left hand. Put them on, guys. Show it off. We also have some members that don't wear shakos. Sousaphone can't have a shako underneath the giant bell, so Gemma wears a beret. And Kelsey plays in the pit. She plays mallet percussion, and can't see the conductor if she's got a brim that's like that plus a plume, so she just wears her baseball cap. This past Saturday, we performed at a competition, the Yamaha Cup at MetLife Stadium, and it was really exciting to see all of it set for the Giants game. And then this Saturday, we have an exciting thing we've never done before called West Point Band Day, where we'll be combining with about 4 or 5 other high school bands in the area, plus the U.S. Military Academy Band, plus the Cadets Band, and performing at halftime of the Army North Texas football game. It's exciting, and it will be early. We leave at 4:30 in the morning. But it should be an amazing time. So you guys, why don't you turn around so you can show the cake? Anyway, we just really wanted to share our appreciation. Debbie Wilson, the Halftimers band parents president this year also, and I know she wanted to say a couple quick words, but once again, thank you for everyone. Thanks to the community for all the support. We really enjoy being a marching band and doing all that we do, and I know it's very appreciated by them. So thank you guys.
We really appreciate the support, and we look beautiful, we sound beautiful, and we look amazing on our new field. So thank you again, Dr. Adams. It's just a little something from you. And thank you everybody very much.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Not to prolong this, and I want to thank the students for being here to dress up and come in and show off the uniforms. You had very strong advocates in Mr. Schwartz and Ms. Wilson and a number of parents. They had brought to my attention the state of the uniforms, and can we replace 10 or can we replace 15 or whatever. But I think the uniforms have been purchased over about 10 years, so they didn't match anymore. And the colors were faded at different levels. And I said, well, if we can come together and come up with $50,000 or so, can we get new uniforms? And so we got new uniforms, and I think we got new drums last year for the drum line and a few new instruments. But it's great to see you at the football games. That's where I get to see you performing, and I know it takes a lot of time. You're practicing in the fields at night whenever everybody's gone, and it's a real commitment on your part. And I will be joining you this Saturday at West Point. I don't know if I'm going to get on the but
come on.
that's the school that I went to as an undergraduate, so and in fact it's my reunion weekend, so I have a bunch of classmates that are all colonels and generals now. So I will be up there sitting with you, but maybe not the 4:30. Thank you, and I'll see you all on Saturday.
Dismissed. Oh, good.
Public participation as to action items only. Those are the items behind me, or to my right. Items number 2.01 through 2.18. Once again, this session will last 30 minutes. If you have any comment with respect to those items only, please step up to the podium. State your name, school affiliation, speak clearly into the mic. We have a couple cameras going, but even with the microphones, it's kind of hard to hear. Your previous to address the board, and pursuant to policy, please no discussion or comments regarding specific district personnel or student. Policies 1230, 1432, 40. Action items. Okay, I don't see anybody Everybody getting up? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, excellent. So, we'll close that portion of the meeting. Okay, with respect to action items, I'd like to do the consent agenda. I believe I am pulling first, however, 2.05. So, with everything with the exception of 2.05, Chairman, can motion to accept those as so stated. Teresa, second? Second. Okay, all, discussion? No, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstentions? So moved. All right, so administrative reports, 3.01, we have, Chair. Thank you.
Improving technology is working here. Should be a
What's it called?
summer projects, PowerPoint.
Oh, here comes Pat.
The board also received, this PowerPoint is of all the work done over the summer, but also the board received, and it will also be for public, kind of key facts for each of the buildings, kind of giving you where we're at. All of our boilers are up to date, our roofs are all within their warranty, and even though a warranty could last 15 to 20 years, because of the preventive maintenance that the district does, we expect to be almost 30 years out of our roofs. So every 5 years, the district needs to report on how the facilities are, and I can tell you that many districts are looking at incredibly high price tags to catch up with what was left. But thanks to the board and the community over the years, facilities are really in excellent condition. And we know we can put together a financial plan to kind of take care of things in an orderly way. And hopefully without any debt, we don't think there was any need to do that either. So that's kind of the long-range plan we're going to be looking at for the district facilities come budget time. We'll be getting a little more on that. As far as work done over the summer, the Viola Courtyard, we actually had to put in a road because the issue with that was, as a courtyard, getting all the things into the facility had to be done through a lifting of a crane, including a bobcat, bringing a bobcat into the courtyard in order for the excavator to take out some pretty large rocks and also prepare what was soon going to be here we go, more excavation. And then we got to a little bit of what the construction debris removed. And now we have stamped concrete, a compass, and basically an outdoor learning environment. There are planters that are coming in, soundproofing. We're still waiting on a few things, but for those, it's really, each week it looks more and more inviting, and planning on the flowering plants coming in spring. And again, the goal is that this is part of our science curriculum in the early grades, and used pretty much in the 7 months of the year that we can be out there and really seeing the changes in what they bring. So we're still doing punch list work. Actually, there's a few donations that the architects have provided, some storage, kind of decorative storage things that will both add to the amenities and be practical for us as visual. Also in the same building, and kind of one of the things we may look at as a long-range goal, these are kind of ceilings you see throughout the district. They're 4x8s. And over time, you get this drooping occurring. And also we have TA technology for lights, which was state of the art maybe about a half a dozen years ago. Now LED both provides more foot candles. It's cheaper, and it's about cheaper as far as long range electricity use, but also provides less maintenance requirements, and would be about the same price as T8s. But what we did at Viola was we combined that with new ceilings in certain classrooms too. And we went with, even in the hallways, and in each classroom, 2x2 ceiling tiles. They will last longer. You will not have that kind of the drooping that you tend to see as the tiles age with the larger tiles. So we are going to put a plan together district-wide, also for the ceilings and the lights. Again, we think we should deal with it over a multi-year period. But over 3 to 5 years, all our lights will go through regular use, and we will no longer buy the TA technology. We'll slowly replace them and deal with the ceilings kind of in a planned fashion. Again, these are the hallways, Viola. Kind of get an idea for the spaghetti that's up in the ceiling. We are actually a separate project pulling in new cable for wireless systems around the district. Again, these classroom looks going through changes. Okay, there it is, complete with furniture. That one. It looks even better today. And there is outdoor lighting coming also. Okay. Where am I going? Okay, move forward. Next building. Oh, I got this because the coloring, we're actually doing some kind of testing of learning environments. And so I guess there's different tastes for different people. When I first saw it, I said, when are we going to paint this? They said, but supposedly this kind of conducive for soothing learning. It's our test. So we'll see how that goes. You may see more of that next year. And yes, we did do some fields. This is actually a temporary bridge to using some of the old field to keep our track in place. The track, probably within 3 to 5 years, if not sooner, should be on our list of replacements. But really, the before and after on the football field, let's try it. This is what we were kind of doing. It was past its useful life, clearly. And when they pulled it off, it came off in sections. They are either, I've come to learn, they're either glued or sewn in place. We actually did a combination of both to get kind of the best of both worlds. This is what was underneath the fields. Now a different pattern. And I know that we presented some data to the board as far as the current buoyancy and how it will improve, limit the potential for injuries, and well below any standards for shock. And then rolled in the turf. It was quite a multicolored, there's the sewing, stitching machines. And actually the infill comes in after it's kind of blown in. Gym curtains. For many years, what you saw in schools were things that had key systems. There was always a little fear because there was some safety issues. You had to make sure as you closed and opened these that there were no students in the way. They were very expensive to operate. They're very expensive to put in place. That's what they look like when they come down. And we replaced them with, that's going to be our test case. But I think it gives us everything we need except sound absorption, clearly. But I think for most buildings, we are We're going to see if this could be our option. A lot less expensive, a lot easier too during the day. They want to change rooms, have make a multi-purpose room in the elementaries. We think this will give them a lot more options going forward. And no maintenance. Same building, middle school, got new bathrooms on the second and third floor, I believe. And all the way through, kind of what we now have there. Okay, high school courtyard also improved, and really that's, as far as the work's concerned, that's what we would love to highlight for you. I do think there was another PDF file. There it is, good. Get out. All right, this is what we alluded to earlier, key facts for each building. Again, what you'll see is there's really nothing that is so urgent that requires immediate. All the roofs weren't heated. And then the last two things I'll highlight for you. Working the facilities the last 6 months, one thing I can say about it is a very active office, and there is a proactivity and there's a reactivity. Proactive, this is what we do on a regular basis. This was in the board's past. Whether it's monthly, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, or annually, we touch all the major systems. And that's why roofs that only have a 15 to 20 year useful life under warranty, we think we can get 30 years out. And right on down the line. So what makes it comfortable for me is there are very few surprises. We know what we're dealing with. We know what needs our next attention. And both Jim and John Smith and John Polly do a wonderful job. And then the reactive part. This is our work orders over time. Again, what makes a work order? If it's something that's going to take more than an hour of time or more than $100 of equipment, then we ask a work order to be put in. We log it. That's what we've done in the past. And at any time we can do reports, what's open, why it's open, and what the estimated conclusion will be, both cost and time-wise. We're working on some larger projects, kind of one-time things, exterior and interior locks. Exteriors are done everywhere, and really by the early part of 2017, the interiors will be done everywhere. We have 3 facilities substantially completed, 4 facilities substantially completed right now, and these are intelligent lock systems. We never have to worry again about where's the key, or if somebody leaves, did they hand their key in? And also, Big Brother will know where that key went. And on the exteriors, they're attached to the camera system too, so you don't know if somebody has someone else's exterior key. That will become obvious also. And security cameras, still kind of in the infancy there. There's a lot more that's going to be done. Again, the intelligence on those. The exteriors are going to have 360 degrees on our fields, as well as hallway stairwells, so on and so forth. Epson boards, we assisted the technology department. This also is something primarily in the last 6 to 8 months. And as I put there, it takes about 3 hours and 2 gentlemen to put this up right now. And so it has been a time-consuming, but working with the tech department. I think we only have about half a dozen are still pleased to be put. So, any questions? Yes.
I have a question. And I asked her this question, I don't know if it's filtered down to you yet. I seem to remember a couple months ago we rejected a bid for replacement of toilets and asbestos abatement in the high school. But I didn't see that listed as a future project. Do those toilets still need replaced?
I think that was the middle school project.
Oh,
that was the middle school. We did. Actually, we ended up going off a state contract.
Okay, very good. And then the security cameras, that's part of the smart schools program?
Yes, the wiring for it. There's actually multiple sources, but yes, the wiring and some of the contract.
Anybody else? Questions? Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
did hit up most of those spots through the wall. Service.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, commenting on that, looks like the lights and the ceilings look much more superior.
And even the room.
Yeah,
Green.
yeah, we don't like the paint.
No, it's excellent. It's excellent. Very soothing and calming. All right, sorry, 3.02. This would be our first CSIP. Mr. Breen, if you would. Thank you.
All right. I want to get a handle on the remote for a second. Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's great to see so many Suffern students here this evening. I had no idea it was that popular. This is an exciting night for Suffern High School because it is that opportunity where we get to show what it is we're doing, what we've been doing, and so many exciting things to come at the high school. So again, thank you to the board, Dr. Adams, for this opportunity. I'm joined here this evening by members of the high school administrative team, Dr. James Douglas, Dr. Andrew Trust, and Mr. William Castellane. I see our senior class advisor here as well, Mr. Cleary, and some other staff, so welcome. To begin, remember the CSIP is a overview of some of the work that's taking place in the high school, and just checking the letters. There we go. Okay. Okay. So as we know, we anchor everything we do in our mission. It's important that we stay true to that mission. So as a reminder, it is part of our CSIP. Again, graduating confident and caring students, achieving their full intellectual potential, as well as their maintaining an active wellness for themselves. So that is an important part of our CSIP, and this is a very tricky question. I had my own in my hand. I'm like, no, Okay, it's temperamental. Okay, so just a snapshot. Last year's graduating class, to give you an idea, we had 99% graduation rate for the class of 2016, 72% attending a 4-year college university, which is up by 4% from last year. Very exciting to see. 24% heading to a 2-year college and 2% post-secondary, other 2% seeking employment. I'm highlighting the 72% 4-year college rate. I can go to the next slide. We, at the high school, the guidance department has done a tremendous job. To give them a lot of credit at streamlining the information. And when we think of going to a 4-year school, it's sometimes all about grades, but that's not always the case. This is what I like to refer to as sort of the hidden curriculum, the information parents need to know and students need to know when applying to a college, whether that's financial aid information, access to people that can help them apply for scholarships and things of that nature. So I think all of that plays into an increased number of students attending a 4-year college. Again, just examples that we did this year. One thing that's worked out great, the senior assembly we do in September that guidance puts together customizes the information for each student. Everybody comes down, the whole senior class, they meet with their counselor, they get that information. Every student gets the same information and it's really streamlined and made that message consistent to the students, which I think is critical. We've also, the past 2 years, just to highlight another point, immediate decision weeks where we have colleges come in and meet with students and they accept them on the spot. Those are some of the colleges that have attended that in the past. It's been very successful. So just again, some great work happening with the guidance department at the high school, and I think it's showing in the 4-year attendance rate at the colleges post-grad. All right. So just a snapshot to give you a quick review. Last year for 15-16, we had 4 priorities: literacy, remembering that was the first year our students in 11th grade took the new English Common Core exam. We spent the past 3 years building up to that point between the curriculum work we were doing and the training with staff. We also had a focus in math on the Algebra 1 Regents and the Common Core Regents exams, again, relatively new regions. Priority 3, and again, falling under PBIS, was looking at assessing our 9th and 10th grade students, putting together some new interventions for them. And again, a STEM priority 4, where we were looking to increase STEM electives and opportunities for students at the high school. So priority 1, just a quick snapshot to review. Tremendously proud of the work of our department and our students. We were setting a goal of 85% proficiency, and as I said, when it happened, we crushed it at 99% with almost an 84% mastery. And again, I believe, I attribute it very much so to our preparation for the teachers, the curriculum they did over the past 3 years. A lot of work went into that. Everything from how to grade the exam to the nonfiction works and the big shifts that took place over that period. So we will continue to anticipate success in that area, and we'll look at those goals in a minute. Priority 2, demonstrating proficiency in mathematics. So again, we set a target for 85% and achieved a goal, or a result, I should say, of 88% proficiency for the Algebra 1 regions, slightly increased in mastery. And again, while we're attaining our goal, we'll continue to expand upon that. In geometry, we set a target for 80%, fell short a little bit by 5% or so, but we looked at least now we have 2 years of data that we've already looked at to see where we need to shore up, and I'll share that with you in a minute for next year. So again, unchanged really from the prior year. Okay, priority 3, PBIS. So we went through last year looking at a few instruments to assess students in terms of identifying areas where we can improve. We were targeting the area of resiliency, and we looked at several instruments. And during that research, we came across a website, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, called CASTLE, which is the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning. And it's really a clearinghouse, if you will, of research-based interventions that schools can use that have a demonstrated track record. And in doing that, we came across another instrument which we're rolling out this year, which I'll share in a moment with you as well. We did not conduct a survey this past year. The company we were using was about to be purchased by another company, so we had some concerns about data, so we just put a pause on it. But we're still looking at doing that this year as well. So as far as attendance, that remained unchanged this year at 94%. We look to improve it by 3%. So again, an eye on that. Again, and when you look at attendance, we look to break it down with students who are chronic, absentee, and overly excessive, 10 or more, and then 18 or more after that. As far as suspensions are concerned, an uptick in some suspensions, in school suspensions. We look to reduce it by 5% and out of school suspensions by 2%, 13% increase in ISS, and a 20% increase in OSS. We looked at the data, back up one. I'm trying to go back. Well, the battery's being changed. If you look at the 5-year ISS rates, while it's higher this past year, we're sort of on average of where we've been. We looked at the data. There doesn't seem to be any particular incident or series of incidents that are spiking one over the other. Each year is a little bit different from the next. But again, we'll look to reduce that as part of this year's CSD. class. Again, looking at the 5-year longitudinal data. Again, not the worst in the last 5 years, but again, an uptick. And again, looking for a specific incident or pattern, did not show up. Again, each year a little bit different. But again, when we look at discipline data over 3 years, you can see month by month it fluctuates. There's no real way to anticipate one year after the other what those high points are, as each year is really different. So we're going to look at a different way of maybe presenting that data to you, opposed to looking at it monthly. Typically though, periods when you have no vacation or long periods of sustained time tend to obviously you have higher rates of suspension. People get antsy. I mean, the administrators get antsy. James, move your head. All right. As far as STEM is concerned, very excited about a new course we rolled out this year. Last year, we looked at, we had the Computer Science A course, which is an extremely rigorous computer course. We had 14 students enrolled in the course, and it was a stretch course for many of them, as there was no real foundation to build up to that. So we had 65% receiving a 3 or better, which was fine. We got it in there, and we learned a lot, as did our teachers, about what was expected, knowing that this year we were moving toward another option for students, which I'll share in a moment. Okay, so for this year, priority 1, again, keeping our eye on literacy, knowing that the state does change exams year to year, maintaining the focus, obviously using the New York State Regents as a benchmark in that area. Priority 2, math, again, doubling down in algebra and geometry, targeting very specific areas, which I will share in a moment. And social emotional learning component, a new component for us, priority 3, which for me always falls under PBIS, or positive behavioral intervention strategies. So I'll share that plan in a moment. And STEAM. So we're moving from, I've been saying STEM for the last 3 or 4 years, but moving forward, we will be referring to it as STEAM, as they are playing a larger role in this, especially at the high school. For this year, literacy, so we're looking at 95% of the students meeting or exceeding the proficiency level on the New York State English Regents exam. And we dropped down a little bit, knowing that the state might tweak things, but knowing also that we will be fully prepared, and our students will be prepared. In math, 93% of the students will be receive proficiency on the Algebra 1 Regents. 85% of the students will need to receive proficiency on the end of course Geometry Regents exam. Again, confident knowing that we put some measures in place that will, I think, dramatically increase the success rates on those exams. PBIS and social emotional learning. We're implementing a student success skills program to all 9th graders this year. We're rolling that out with the help of the guidance department, pushing into classrooms with counselors and clinicians. And I'll share what the 5 areas are that we'll focus on. We're also going to look to reduce OSS and ISS by 5% respectively. And as far as attendance is concerned, improve that by 2%. STEAM, we have an exciting course that we're offering this year, AP Computer Science Principles, which will provide a great foundation for students now entering back into Computer Science A. It's an exciting course. It's about problem solving. There's a little bit of coding in it. Actually, there's a lot of coding in it, but it's fundamental. I think it's an excellent course that will prepare and challenge students in that area. And it will also, I think, be a great course to model for other electives as we sort of roll out those offerings for students. Programmatic areas. So we spent a lot of time this year in terms of when I say programmatic, these are programs that run in the building. We have a program called 9th Grade Seminar, which initially was designed and was running as a sort of a content support period for students that we've tweaked and sort of, I would say, advertised, where we're creating a more college-ready pathway for those students. The problem was, you come into 9th grade seminar, and you sort of travel together all through the day with the same students. And when we spoke to students, they really didn't like that too much. And so we really, took that feedback and looked at a way to provide them support, but also break them out and get them out into the regular classes. We also have a way of looking at it in terms of just a simple graph, if you will. But if you come in, for example, a 9th grade seminar, you're not trapped in sort of a seminar program for your 4 years at Suffolk High School. There's an exit, and that exit for them would be to look at AVID as a more college readiness program. We know AVID is not a remedial program at any level. It's really designed to prepare students for college. So, our expectation for those students in the seminar program is that they will go to college. And so we've created that course to really support them in doing that. Okay, and when I said AVIDize, we had a group of teachers and administrators attend an AVID training over the summer. We've had multiple teachers attend AVID trainings over the past 9 years or so. And so we're really doubling down, looking at some of those best practices and strategies and instructional strategies that really work, or evidence-based, that have been tested. And so we're going to really try to use that internal capacity to push out these strategies in all courses across the disciplines. We're also running a new 2-year E&L program for our newcomer students in the core content areas. Currently there are 24 students enrolled in that course. And this has been great. I just want to thank you for your support in the E&L staffing because it is allowing us to do this very effectively. Basically looking at supporting these students, especially those who have gaps in their education, and providing them a longer period to maybe remediate some of those deficits and then get them into the content which the still holds them accountable for and us for. So we're looking at a 2-year sequence with English, math, biology, social studies, and again, obviously having that E&L content support period. So that, and the feedback has been tremendous from the students in that program. They see us as investing in them, caring about them, and there's a lot of positive energy coming from both the teachers and the students. So again, thank you for your support there. Literacy, we're continuing, again, always keeping an eye on our curriculum and our assessments, keeping in line with what is asked of us at the state level. Achieve 3000, which is a computer-based reading comprehension tool for helping students with deficits in reading comprehension. We'll be using that in select areas. Continued E&L support is very important for our staff, professional development for the teachers. As I just said, we have students in this 2-year program, but in 2 years, they'll be going out into the regular classrooms, and our teachers need to know still what those best practices are in teaching and instructional strategies for E&L students. And again, the program I mentioned just a moment ago. So, with our math action sets, again, a continued emphasis on Algebra 1 geometry. We've identified particular areas. If you look at geometry, congruence, properties of circles, expressing geometric properties with equations. Those are specific areas that we've seen over the last 2 years our students have not done well with, that we're going to look at and test prior to the Regents to make sure that we're up to speed and growth, functions, interpreting functions, etc. So those are the particular focuses for the math areas for geometry and algebra. Yes.
Like that was the surprise.
PBIS. So we've had a great start this year at the high school. Tremendous amount of energy. And again, we're going to continue recognizing our students through our Mounting Pride initiative, our citizenship, academic achievement, involvement in the building. With Heroes and Cool Kids, a leadership program that we're running. And coincidentally, this is the first group of students now being trained as leaders that were in middle school when we first rolled out the program. And again, it's even brought in more energy because I think they understand the value even more that they had been, sort of looking up to these students 5 years ago. So it's very nice to see and hear that feedback. We have assemblies scheduled this year. We're bringing back Rachel's Challenge, which we bring back on an alternating year pattern in November. Again, an assembly for students, and that is again an anti-bullying driven type program that is followed up with our 4 Club and sustained in the building consistently. We also have drug and alcohol awareness speakers coming in December. for the students. Getting to the unifying theme, just thought I'd touch on that. So we looked at We Are Suffern and really celebrating the Suffern High School's rich history, diversity, cultures, and talents. And I've asked a few students to come here this evening from our senior class. These are our senior class officers. I'll introduce them to you in a moment. But what was striking this year, and I've been at the high school for 20 years, teaching all the way up, I've never seen a group of students take on Spirit Week the way these students did that. And I just want to, oh my gosh, this was the picture of entering up the ramp, going into the high school, and the senior class basically used this opportunity of designing their hallway, and you get all kinds of themes over the years, but this was very powerful, and I don't want to understate how powerful it was, both to students, staff, administrators, everybody. They really celebrated the history of the school. They captured it, they went through old yearbooks, they showcased it, very poignant moments in our history, some tremendous, some tragic, that really galvanized, I think, that class and under the Spirit Week and set a tone for the school. And I can tell you, it was a great week. It was a great week. So I want to introduce some senior class officers who are here, and I just want to show you something else they did, which we will also be showcasing. Carly Goldblatt is here, Sophie J, Mike Smith, Kenna Downey, and Zach Beckinelli today. All right. I'm going to ask Ms. Cleary just to give you the background on this quilt.
I am Kim Cleary, I teach high school. I've been very lucky. I've been the class advisor for 2017 since they were sophomores, and this idea of We Are Suffern, every day, I've been through Spirit Week since I got here at Suffern in 2000, and it's always like, under the seniors, and like fun little things, and these guys were adamant that is not what they wanted to do. They wanted to create a hallway that was almost like a museum that you walked into the history of Suffern. And they worked from the first day so we started planning this last year, every day from the first day of school until Spirit Week. They were in there making the signs, going through old yearbooks. That wall that you can see all the pictures of the yearbooks, that was McKenna Downey. I basically did a lot of the photocopying, and Mike Smith and Zach kind of went through yearbooks. We spent every day at lunch, and she kind of put that together as a mural. There's actually pictures up there of Suffern teacher alum, Sue Jackson Delaney. She's up on the wall from when she was a student at Suffern. We really tried to highlight, and it was great. People walking by, oh, look at that. And the idea was, there was a section on it that was our wall of fame. We had pictures of Walt Weiss, we had pictures of Grace Vanderwall, we had, Joe Biddy is in our Hall of Fame. On the other side, that's just to name a few. We did have our in memoriam section where we paid tribute to Mr. Desmond, Mr. Quigley, Kristen Binney, and it was really something that I can take no credit for. It was all them. This is something they really worked very hard. And to top it all off, we wanted to make this permanent in the sense of a gift to the Suffern High School. So we started collecting old Suffern gear. And thanks to Sophie J's mom, Miss Lisa J, and the students, we would like to present to you now our 2017 gift to Suffern High School, which is the Suffern quilt. So the kids, we collected everything. Here, Mike, the quilt is made from different donations of old jerseys and t-shirts, not only from Suffern High School, but Suffern Middle School, Elementary School, Little League, and it was all put together and sewn with the help of Mrs. J and the kids, and it's going to be hung up at Suffern High School permanently. We got some plexiglass that we're going to hang up to keep it safe, and this is our gift to Suffern High School for the class of 2020.
Well, do you want to see it or you want to see it open?
Yeah, we'll ask you back to see it when it's hanging proudly when you enter the building. So again, thank you. Again, just to comment on the leadership, again, tremendous. Again, thank you, Mr. Chen, for your help too. Okay, back to the other stuff. For this year, we have a social emotional learning component in PBIS. We're rolling out 9th grade student success program, as I mentioned earlier. And this program will look at helping students do some self-inventory, identify some strategies, and it covers everything from test anxiety to regular, just overall anxiety, and it's tiered. So there's large group sessions, and then as information comes in, smaller groups can be set up to work with students that require a more intensive type group format. So we're excited about it, and I can certainly provide you more information on it if you'd like to read about some of the research behind it. Again, we're looking forward to that. So all that new planning is going on. I just, again, want to point out the AP program is doing very well at the high school. Over the last 5 years, this is our highest, 87% 3 or better, which is tremendous. When you look at how that compares to the state at 65%, students did very well last year. We also have, again, an eye on our opportunities for our students going back to our mission. So we have 26 college courses. We've added a few over the years. But again, working with SUNY Albany, Syracuse, Seton Hall, St. Thomas Aquinas, RIT, RCC. Again, we just added a course to RCC the other day for native heritage-speaking students in Spanish for college credit. And one course, another new one we added in Family Consumer Sciences was an Intro to Education course for students that may want to pursue a career in education. Again, that's through Seton Hall, so we're just excited about some of that work. And as far as STEAM is concerned, again, looking at areas where it's thriving, Project Lead the Way program, we have that 4-course sequence. We now have a 2-year sequence in computer science at the AP level, AP Comp Sci A and AP Computer Science Principles. We also had our art teacher, Tracy Burgess, bring in a medical illustrator last year, drawing and painting, to show connections between that. Recurring themes, even though it's literature, art, and history. Again, also making connections to engineering. They showcased some work at the STEAM Expo last year, where they discussed Versailles and the engineering that went behind King Louis XIV's residence. Forensic science, very strong. We have the STIR program at Cambridge, which enables students to research an area of their interest. Again, connected to STEAM, everything from global warming to whatever it might be, but again, a lot of flexibility in that area. And of course, our robotics team was a picture of them presenting at Pace University earlier this year on their ideas for this upcoming season. And that's just 2 examples of the work that the medical illustrator did with the students. Catherine Kuczynski, a 12th grader currently, and Sarah Taborda, an 11th grader. Again, very powerful and unique work. On the horizon, we're looking at makerspace and active learning classrooms. Active learning classroom is really an environment sort of changing the traditional classroom, creating an environment where you can do more collaborative work with students. The makerspace, again, I'm not sure how familiar you are with that term. We're looking at a place, the building, most likely in a library where students can explore and research and be creative on their own in a different environment. We're also looking at Project Lead the Way, a different strand in engineering, a biomedical engineering course, which will appeal to a different type of student. And Project Lead the Way recently allows schools to offer courses without having to offer the entire sequence, which is why we haven't done it earlier, which is great. It gives us a lot more flexibility in terms of those courses that we can offer to students. And again, looking at taking some of what's happening in those courses, those best practice areas, whether it's AP Comp Science or even the biomedical, and creating electives for other students as well to take those courses. So again, some great things on the horizon. Any questions?
Wow.
All right.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Impressive, thank you. Yes, dear, how you will. Absolutely, thank you. All right. Okay, 3.03, PPS report. Stop over you.
Okay, so to start out, it's just Dr. Costello now, kind of drop the green, so I'm gonna leave that off. And I have with me all of the ladies of PPS, so let me introduce them. One more to step away from the microphone, you probably can hear me anyway. I have Ms. Courtney Violetti, who is our secondary supervisor of special services. Sybil Jeffs, who I think you met earlier, and she'll be joining the team soon. Ms. Tara Rivera, who I know you know, is our supervisor of elementary special services and E&L services. And then Ms. Melanie O'Keefe, who's a school psychologist at Viola, and you'll hear why she's here in a couple of minutes. So we're doing our presentation a little differently this year, just so you're aware. Pat's really tall, so that didn't work well. All of the ladies will be doing a piece of the presentation as well, because we've all worked on this together collaboratively. So PPS, Pupil Personnel Services, is a system of support. And I think that's kind of, we've lost that focus to some extent. We're seen as a department of the district, but we're not really seen as what we are, which is groups of people dedicated to meeting the needs of students, faculty, and families, giving students what they need through all of the different services that we encompass, which, as you know, includes guidance services, which touches every student here, nursing services, special education services, Section 504 services, and until very recently, E&L services. So we wanted to really bring the focus back to that system of supports that we can provide for all of the people of Ramapo Central School District. So our goals for this year were based on the goals that we had last year and whether we met those or not. One of our goals last year was to decrease the number of referrals received. Unfortunately, that did not occur. We had an increase in referrals, so one of the things we wanted to do this year was increase the efficiency of our CSD referral and classification process. To really look at the process, why are we getting referrals both from school buildings and from parents, and how can we increase the support that both parents and the school buildings are feeling before they get to that spot where they're referring a child. So we wanted to look at that quite a bit. And we also wanted to increase our ELA and math proficiency rate. Yes, we've had less students take the test, so it's a difficult piece of data to really get a handle on. And yes, we are still above the county average for students with disabilities on those tests. However, we're still not at a level we're comfortable with. So, okay, what can we do to increase the proficiency rate on both of those exams? So those are some of our goals for this year. In order to meet those goals, oh, you're not kidding, it's really, in order to meet those goals, we've really embraced the model of multi-tiered systems of supports, again, for each student, for the staff, and for families. Now, multi-tiered systems of support, it's a push in New York State that really works well for us because it talks about student ownership by everyone in the school community. So not, oh, that's your student, or that's my student, or that child's in that room, or gets that service, and that's it. That's who owns them. We all own every student. So we really want to stress that. Now, in order to build a multi-tiered system of support, we're looking at those pieces on the outside. So if you see the 3 circle crescents on the outside, we've got a system of professional development, integration and sustainability, and leadership. That's supporting the learning, the teaching, and the assessments that goes on in the school district. And embedded in all of that is that very familiar triangle you might have seen, which is the RTI systems of supports. So you start with all of those universal systems in the green, more targeted systems in that bluishy, and then the very purple top is intensive systems of support, which may or may not result in things like a 504 plan, an allergy plan, medical plan, or an IEP, which is where we specialize. So we're going to just explain those systems a little better for you. There was a check. And I'm going to hand this over to one of the members of our team.
Thank you. Okay, so moving forward with professional development, first of all, we have OG support group, which is Orton Gillingham. And over the summer, some of our K-grade teachers participated in a 30-hour training with Orton Gillingham. Within this, they learned about dyslexia, the associated brain research, and basic phonics. The strategies that they learned from this are going to help our students, give them the best opportunity to learn to read, write, and spell. In order to support the teacher implementation of Orton Gillingham as well as for the students, moving forward, the teachers this year will have a support group led by an Orton Gillingham fellow to work with throughout the year. And Math 180. Math 180 has been implemented at the middle school this year in the special self-contained classes. This is a comprehensive system of curriculum, instruction, and assessment that's designed to equip struggling or at-risk students with everything they need to thrive in algebra. So in turn, this will give them some knowledge and resources and everything that they need to reach their grade level standards. And we hope to expand the implementation of this further as the year goes on.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So another area of professional development that we're working on this year is social emotional professional development. And one of the first things that that training has taken place in already is in TCI training expansion. TCI stands for Therapeutic Crisis Intervention. And this is training that allows staff to provide interventions for students experiencing crisis and give them the support that they need to get through that difficult time. The School Success Framework is another social emotional support, and that's trauma-sensitive care. That's actually protocols issued by New York State, and that's geared towards de-escalating situations that can be problematic, in terms of layering supports around students with social emotional needs. These are the things that we are will be offering this year. Something else that we're doing this year is the PPS menu of PD presentations. Essentially, building principals can order up whatever professional development needs they feel their staff will require, and we will be happy to provide those professional development experiences for them. So we're going to be working on that this year as well.
Maybe I'm just too short. Is that it?
There we go. So in addition to this year, in addition to professional development this year, we're going to be working, of course, on leadership. And PPS administrators as well as building administrators are going to be working together on a multitude of different things, one of which are recess focus groups. This is training that allows for staff to analyze what's happening during resource, which can be a time that can be a little difficult for some of our students because it is relatively unstructured. And it gives the opportunity for us to take a look at what is causing some of the concerns that we're seeing during that time period. We also have an RTI collaborator. This person, which we'll hear a little more about later on in the presentation, is actually working with each individual building. Each building is at a different place and has different needs. So this person is spending time in each of the buildings looking at the RTI process and ways that they can improve the process. In terms of integration and sustainability, how are we going to integrate these things within each building and then sustain them throughout the year? So one of the first things that we've done this year so far is create diverse school teams to deal with the data that's been collected, as well as come up with interventions that will make a difference. One of the first things that we have done is we've met with psychologists, social workers, and speech-language therapists to start to look at that data, as well as come up with those interventions. That will in turn empower teachers to support the students that they have, and then once those students are getting those supports, we'll then empower them to continue on a road towards success, which is what we all want.
As chair people, we spend a lot of time with families and the community. And one of the things we're working on this year is putting together more parent workshops. An example of one is we're going to have our behaviorists come in and actually do a presentation for parents on effective parenting and behavioral techniques.
So as you can see, those three areas, professional development, leadership, and integration and sustainability, is going to support all of the other systems in the schools. And these are themes and different topics that you will see woven into the CSIPs that were presented. Much of what we're doing, like the school success framework and the trauma-sensitive care, the TCI expansion, those are pieces of socio-emotional learning that you may have already heard referenced by Pat in his CSIP, and some of the other pieces, the Math 180, the EOG of the parent workshops, will be mentioned in the CSIPs forthcoming, because again, we're support for all of the buildings. Now I'm going to turn this over to Ms. O'Keefe, who's going to talk a little bit about that inner triangle again. It was a big push for us this year, is an RTI initiative. What can we do at the very basic level in the buildings to assist both the parents and the school staff before we get to the referral piece?
So this is a visual of a healthy RTI system. In a healthy RTI system, you see this classroom triangle where most of your resources, your interventions, your focus is on your tier 1 or classroom-based focus. Moving up tier to tier 2, students who aren't responding at that classroom-based level, you would have more focused, more group-type interventions, a little more individualized, a little more intense, and then finally, if they're not responding at that level, they come up to the top. But you can see by the percentages of how that is, you're really at the top should be serving a smaller percentage. If you see your triangle change in shape as a system, then we really need to address that. And what we do is we push down the triangle. So what that means is, if we're dealing with a lot of services that end up being referred for very much needing individualization, we need to look at those universal interventions and those group interventions to see why are students not responding at those lower levels when we see that lots of students can respond with the right types of interventions. So that's what we're trying to do, is get back to that shape that makes sense for any RTI system and unit. And the basics of a response intervention system, and again, this isn't just owned by PPS, this is just basic frameworks for how schools work and support students and screening. So making our data, using our data, delving into that, making data-based decision making to drive the intervention, whichever tier you're on, driving those interventions, and then progress monitoring those interventions. And that's work that we're all doing all the time, and you're looping through that system. So you're progress monitoring, you're adjusting your intervention, then you're progress monitoring some more. It's a constantly moving cycle, and those are the basic steps. So in order to improve our systems in general, and we talked about that efficiency piece, how do we get more efficient? How do we get there? So we're looking at what exists already. So in our elementary building specifically, there was training that was done 7 to 8 years ago by school teams. It was a gym rank model, so school teams went and were trained for a full week on a problem-solving team model of RTI. So picking up those pieces, instead of introducing something new, we decided to look at what had already existed, what pieces of that still remain in which buildings, and how do we sort of reactivate components of that we knew were helpful at that time. But of course, over time, through staff turnover, different things we moved away from. So just going back to kind of the basics around a gym rank model, which just includes a really problem-solving focus and using your problem-solving teams, your experts at your school-based levels to support your students and teachers, really activating those experts. And each team, that's going to look different because people are in different places, but really it's about getting teams to set goals for themselves about how do they move through this RTI system, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. Also, like you've already heard about how we're meeting as departments, so not just as school teams, but departments are meeting, school psychologists, speech therapists, again, all of us moving in the same direction, focused on this issue. Obviously, you've also heard Tara present, I know that was a presentation to the board on the whole ELL piece, and that's a really big push this year as well, which is great. It's not just in theory anymore, it's the interventions, like putting the right interventions for L students into those hands of teachers who are dealing with that. And it's really amazing to see that work that's happening this year on that piece. And of course, we're here to support everyone, so they can activate us to come to those meetings and be a part of the solution.
So a big piece of this RTI initiative, if I can get it back, is, as you heard Mel reference, it's something the district's been using for years. It's been in New York State for years, and everyone was trained on it, and everybody knew it. Okay, so how do we get enthusiasm for that back again? How do we make people really be invested in the model? So one of the things we did do is we came up with this role, an RTI collaborator, and that would be Mel. And Mel is working very heavily at the elementary level because it's best for us to kind of build it at that level and let it grow up. She's working heavily at the elementary level with the building principals to kind of reactivate the process and get them interested again. So we needed to figure out the best way to present that to all of our building principals, and we don't have groups of students we can bring in marching bands that really, really look cool and really interesting. So we came up with this, and by we I mean Mel came up with this, and I don't know how do I get it to do that? So this is how we introduced this new process, which is an old process, to our principals. Is there a volume? Got everyone's attention when we presented it at Friday, I think at 2 o'clock in the middle of the summer. So I'm hoping that you enjoyed, this is not us, being switched. I'm hoping you enjoyed our presentation on what our focus is this year. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? Elise?
Can you hear me? No?
Yeah, I can.
So thank you very much. That was
Okay, now it's working. That's very interesting, thank you. I have a clarification question regarding the RTI triangle. Do we yet have the data to know if our triangle looks like this triangle, or is that something we're collecting throughout the year?
So
So when we talk about our classification rate and referral rate, RTI is really the setup, right? Is the system prior to that CSD piece. So we know that our referrals are up. We know that our classification rate is up. And what's also interesting is our classification rate by referral I'm saying this wrong, but a lot of students are coming to the table and not being classified. There's a lot of frustration with that process. So there's a lot of inappropriate referrals. So our triangle is off a little bit in the sense that there's a lot of requests for higher intent services. So we really need to push it down and see if we can solve more problems at that building level. Because there's so many resources in our buildings. There's so many experts there. And how do we just activate that expertise so that things don't get pushed up and that they're feeling like the answer is outside of them. And really, a lot of our answers and interventions are within us. We just have to activate that and work together, if that makes sense. So yes, our triangle is a little off because of our high referral and referral rate right now.
Okay, thank you. And then those referrals, are they mostly parents or are they mostly identified in the school, or is it even balance, or?
It's an even balance. So our referral rate, the percentage, I think we're up 18% from one year to the next. And it's about split. So it's both team referrals and parent referrals. And like I said, it's frustrating. It's frustrating for teams when they're referring students who they believe, and then there's differences at the table. And it's also frustrating for parents who are looking for supports. So again, RTI is a way to get those supports just in a quicker, more efficient way.
I like the idea that you can use a shape to kind of decipher how you're progress.
We didn't actually graph out the shape, the triangle's off, to be honest with you. I didn't create a square, but it is helpful. Visuals are always helpful to conceptualize information.
Okay, so I love the idea of involving the parents in some of the parent education early on, not just to minimize the referrals that may not be adequate in your experienced view, but also to make them part of the process of identifying and recognizing what the needs are for the particular child. So thanks for doing that, involving the parents. The effective parenting workshop, what is that, elementary parents, or what age group is it for?
It would primarily be for elementary parents, and that's usually the audience that we would see. Those workshops are growing out of the parent organization that has kind of folded. So we're going to kind of step in that place and hope to present at least 2 workshops this year, hopefully 3. We have used this behavioralist in the past. She's very well received. The parents really respect her ideas and her suggestions. So yeah, it would probably go from like K to 8 primarily.
And along with a parent involvement piece, I'm going to be asking you for your support to try to revive our sector in our district that has kind of lost, its leadership, who have gone to other units and other things. And I'm sure we have a base of parents that wouldn't want to see that piece go away, because it has to do with the, bringing parents in, bringing the experts, communication piece with our population. So we'll work together.
We will attempt it. There was a lot of work done in the spring to try to keep it going, and it just wasn't the right time, wasn't the right place, didn't come together, but we're hopeful. We're hopeful we can grow out of this.
To make it happen on here. How would happen.
Any other
Okay, anybody
questions?
else? No,
Thank you
very
so
much
much for your
Thank
time
you.
and support.
Okay, 4.01 discussion items. The first discussion item we have is consideration of district name change. So we have a legal update with respect to legal issues surrounding possibly changing the name. Attached to the agenda and what I had pulled for a separate vote is 2.05, which is the resolution, which is basically a resolution for a public hearing that we would have at the next board meeting, which would be November 1st at 7:30 to get public input with respect to changing the district's name. Anybody have any comments, questions, discussions? Clark?
I was going to make a motion for that. No.
No? Okay. Stephen Walker.
Thanks, Chair. I'd be more than happy to give the public and the board certainly some background here in terms of how this came to become a matter for public discussion. One of the things that came out of the strategic planning process last year, one of the specific goals was to make sure that we're taking specific steps and making concerted efforts towards ensuring that the district has a singular identity, with the goal being that we hope to slow and then eventually reverse the trend of declining enrollment here, and by doing that, attracting new, younger families to the school district. One of the things that has been fodder for discussion around the school district community is the potential impact of the confusion that folks have, not only within this community, but outside of this community, about our school district name and the school district name of the district director to our East Ramapo. And I just want to be clear, this has nothing to do with us casting aspersions toward them. We think they do an outstanding job and we have great respect for them. But even when you do a simple Google search as someone who may be considering moving to this school district, 40% of the time, we've done this research, 40% of the time, looking for Ramapo Central, you find information about the East Ramapo Central School District. And that becomes certainly challenging in terms of real estate agents and younger families being able to find the accurate information about the school district that they potentially be moving their family into. So we've done the research legally and logistically into what it would take for the school district's name to be changed. And what would have to happen is the board would have to adopt a resolution to essentially petition the Commissioner of Education to change the name of the school district officially. We cannot, the board cannot, as a body, independently and arbitrarily change the name on its own. So what we're interested in doing is to provide to the board some information, some data through a very simple one-question survey as to how the various stakeholder groups in our community would feel about this potential change. Thinking about the opinion of students, of faculty and staff, of the parent community, and of the broader school district community. And so what we've done is to put together, this is a one-question survey with a significant preamble, because we think it's important for people to understand why this is a topic of conversation. But essentially, the question that we'd be asking is, does the community support the Board of Education requesting that the Commissioner of Education approve a name change for the school district from the Ramapo Central School District to the Suffern Central School District? We understand that's not an easy question to answer. That's a nuanced discussion. And so what we're prepared to do is to utilize this to get feedback from students, from parents, from faculty, and from the broader community that we could then bring back to you in terms of very specific and raw data as to what the level of support for this idea is. And so that's what we wanted to provide to you this evening, as well as obviously that resolution for your consideration, that the next time the board's together on November 1st to allow for a public hearing so that the board can hear feedback from community members as to their thinking around this idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
My only thought is just a reminder to the public that it is a public hearing, so that people understand that we're going to sit back.
Right, it's a public hearing, and I'll preface the public hearing at the time. So that is a public hearing, it's not a discussion that.
Right.
As our.
Well, only so that the public, if they come to the public hearing, they understand that it's not.
It's not given to conversation.
How are we publicizing the hearing besides posting?
It's posted and how else we publicize it? Put on the board, it's not on the website. Yeah. We call the media, but they don't usually don't really care.
The question here is following the hearing. Am I understanding correctly? The hearing will happen first and then the questionnaire will go out? Survey?
That's the board's prerogative. We're prepared to put the questionnaire out, certainly to the faculty and staff as early as later this week, but it's your prerogative. If you prefer to have that wait, that's fine.
I don't think there's a need to wait.
I agree, I think you probably don't care to put it out.
Yeah.
Anyone wants to read the whole thing can, scroll down that back.
Perhaps there should be a mention of the forum as part of this as well? In case someone would like to attend the forum first before they respond?
The forum is a
To get on the facts.
time-sensitive thing. We would envision this to be done either before and after the forum, or one or the other, so I don't want to reference dates that would then make it appear dated if you saw it after November 1st. But we can certainly link it to a communication about the forum.
Okay, so have a link about it, announcing it, because somebody might hold off on responding till they learn more facts or they ask their questions. Thank you.
I think to Monty's point, we can give a date after the forum, but we can put it out earlier. That'll give us also a good sense of where we're at. Okay, anything else? Any other discussion with respect to this? All right, that being said, I'm going to go back now to the action item. We didn't skip that, I don't want to forget it. So with respect to action item 2.05, which is the resolution setting forth the date and time of the public hearing, Chair would entertain a motion to accept 2.05 as so stated. Clark. Second. Craig. Any discussions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions? 2.05. Okay, very good, thank you. Thanks, Steve. All right, 4.02 is the policy manual update to the first reading of the policy 5405, student wellness. We'll turn it over to the chair of the policy committee, BHP 7.
Is that working? Okay. I think I might have figured it out after all these years. So this is the first reading of the wellness policy manual update. So obviously, as always, presented any questions that you guys may have, you can send, we can get answers to. And then we don't put the second reading up, at least until we get the answers to those questions. Typically, it's the next meeting, but last time we waited because there were so many policies to review and so many questions to get answered. So we extended it, as needed. So it's not as if there's a rush to get it done, but it took a while to get to this point. So we want to make sure that we do get this on an agenda in the next meeting or two, but also give you guys time to submit any questions that you have that may need answers to it.
Teresa, I want to point out that the policy committee doesn't meet until November 2nd, which will be a day after the next board meeting. So my suggestion would be with 5405, wait until November 15th. So that gives us almost a month to get questions answered.
Yeah.
Smart lunch, is that related to choice
So, Brad, I don't know, I can also follow you. No, I do. I think it can be talking about that. Yeah, and I'm trying to think exactly what it was, because I don't have to put down so many policies to come up, but I just want to refer back to it. It's under the
smart lunch.
It's under the.
Right, it says we're going to do smart lunchroom, and I'm just wondering if that relates to choice architectures and nudges to get people to.
Yeah, it's about healthy eating and the right food and the layout, what attracts them to those types of foods. But I don't have the exact specifics in my brain, but yes, it's around that concept. I don't know if Dr. Brown, if you have anything else.
No, but I'll get more.
But if there's more information,
Smart lunchroom is a regulation that it's recommended that our policy agrees with. So on the wellness policy, I'm just gonna, I'm in agreement that we are going to need some more time, particularly for two things. Rather than just board member questions, which we still should definitely encourage and invite. We need time to run this through the evaluation tool that's recommended by NISPA. And so we will seek the help of the Rockland County Department of Health to take this back to them now that it's been edited and gone through some reviews in order to test it through the tool and see how it rates or how it ranks. So that might require some extra time, so thanks for the, a little more extension here. And the other piece of it is basically just reviewing all the edits that have happened over, quite some time. We'll need time to review this. And I'll bring back the feedback that we get from the Department of Health, and I'll share it with you as soon as I receive it. I just got this recently.
Did Mr. Guccione share the edits?
So Mr. Guccione recently, yes, sent the last version with a few notes. It's not exactly what I originally requested, but I'll work with that compared to the original and send what the policy committee has put forward now as a proposed policy to go through the evaluation tool, because that was recommended that we do that. See how it rates, and I'll come back with, the ratings and where we're good and where we're not, and what we need to look at.
So I think, a couple things, just to be clear, some of the things that were not put in the policy that were revised may also be part of the standard operating procedures, the regulations. So they might not be in here, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to be part of the regulation. So that's something just to be aware of, because not everything goes in the policy. It's what we do on a day-to-day basis that we are actually going to do. So there might be more details in the regulations and of course the attachments that are in every policy. The other thing I would say is I would think that Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Adams, if Andy wants to pass this through the committee again, we've already, so Andy had it, he's made revisions separate from, individually when we sent it back. And then we met with Andy the last time as a group, as a policy committee. So I know that we received feedback. I just don't know what our requirement is as far as going back and how this back and forth goes with the committee or an individual that we've already received information from.
Has the SHAC committee met, or are they scheduled to meet soon?
We haven't met yet since the beginning of this year, so that's another that needs to be advised and shown in the policy. But I think that it's a little different from other policies where we have all the needed expertise in-house, where we're seeking the Department of Health expertise on. It's a very different type of policy that way. And the tool is designed for policies, not for procedures. So it's a policy evaluation tool. That's just going to go.
Okay, but also keep in mind that some of the things that were in the policy were not things that were being done that you can't just put in.
Right, but if you find out what you can't do, why that we don't have, maybe nothing, maybe it ranks perfectly, but I think we need that feedback at least.
Okay. I just don't know what the process is for that, because that's not something that we've had done in the past, goes through, that's up to you and Andy, but I know.
There may be a regulation that we're not aware of that just came out, so that's that, we have free, perfect expert, input that is free to us for charge that's available. So I would say, let's run it by them, let's see what they come back with. We may agree or disagree. We don't have to take all of it, right?
Well, and something that I didn't know is whether Andy had updated the committee as a whole.
Not yet.
So
we haven't had a meeting yet.
This has been.
So perhaps we wait until after the SHAC committee.
And I'll send this right away because I just got it.
However, I would ask the SHAC committee, if possible, meet prior to us having our next meeting, because obviously we'd like to get the questions from the board members, and if there's anything that comes up, if that's the case, we need to discuss it at the next meeting, because again, we don't want November 2nd. Policy meeting second. Ours is the second. So, again,
each have to meet before.
well, if we want to, get this, policy committee doesn't meet on a regular basis. We pick dates, we've had this date for 2 months now.
And the next one is what?
We don't have the next dates. We kind of pick them as we need to, and since we've kind of been at the end of the policy piece, not that we're not going to restart and look at other things as they come up, but we've done a substantial amount, we don't have any real need to go into the next policy.
Dr. Adams, you will approach Andy, or you want me to contact him?
On the additional edits or the SHAC?
To have a meeting before.
I meet with him on Friday, so I'll put him on the agenda for Friday.
Just the next couple of weeks, there's a bunch of, school events and other things going on. So, in terms of meetings, the advocacy committee would like to hold a meeting. I just want to make sure there's no conflict with Tuesday, the 25th. If there's no conflicts somewhere? That's good. Good to go. This is before I announce it to the rest of the committee.
I'm not aware of any conflicts.
Okay. All right. Will you let me know? Sure. Thanks. And just, advocacy committee hasn't met yet. This will be our first meeting of the new year. Nevertheless, I just want to thank everybody who worked hard to, especially Matt Kerr and my new colleague on the committee, for all the hard work getting the signatures at the open houses in all our schools. So thank you very much. And Teresa also as well. So we have over 700 signatures regarding the tax collection bill.
And Amani, with the meeting here,
Yeah. We know
at a particular time, 6,
7 o'clock as usual. Yeah. And now, thank you. I won't send it until you confirm it's okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, any other comments, questions, etc. with respect to the policy? No, okay. 4.03, that's the NISBA conference. The NISBA conference this year is in Denver, Colorado. Can't drive. You could. Crazy. You're really long. I don't know who is interested in going, who's not interested in going. We need to kind of delve through that. It's kind of pricey, the conference itself. I think the conference fee, just for the fee per person, is $915. What I have on the sheet.
Should we find a group first? Because that way it gives you a good idea of.
Yeah, so it's.
I'm out.
There's
conflict.
I don't know if they've gotten more expensive, or maybe it's just the first time they jumped from last year. Yeah.
It might just be from Denver. Well, no, we've gone to San Diego.
I don't know.
No, like price-wise, well, how does it compare with last year?
Last year was $725.
Wow.
Yeah, it's.
So I can't attend. I don't think you can.
Oh, no.
No, I cannot.
I think decisions need to be made quickly because airfare will be more money, restricted.
Yeah, I looked at the average airfare is about $350 right now. The hotels are not that expensive, actually. The hotels were around $200 a night. I guess it would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. Conferences Saturday, Sunday, but yeah, Monday is typical, so it didn't seem that pricey until I saw the conference fee.
So Terry, right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people out.
Who's four? Who's the fourth?
Marlene, so that's for sure.
Okay, so
that leaves Matt, Craig, and Amani. So that can dwindle down.
Sure.
Whatever
Well, if you look at our, the
March
dates are March 24th, which is the Friday. Well, the conference starts the 25th, which is Saturday. 25th, 26th, and 27th.
So it ends on Monday?
It ends on Monday at like 1 o'clock.
And you look at airfare earlier?
I looked at airfare, average around $350, somewhere like $299, $350, and somewhere, $500. So about $350 average. The hotels were cheaper. The hotels listed were like $200, $189.
Okay, but
$210.
that gradually will disappear, so we just need to know.
Yeah, but I don't think that, I think the hotels are just not as expensive.
But I think ultimately, what do we have budgeted for? So does that leave 2 or 3 people that can go?
Well,
We had budgeted for the New York conference, and none of us ended up going. Yeah, no one's going.
Budget-wise is about $3,300 for the conference, not including, not including the conference fees are paid separately. So those were taken out, I think up to 3, right? For 3, which makes sense. So it's about $3,283. So
3 people.
So 3 people go, and that's with 3 conference fees, 9 or whatever it was for the conference fees. So you guys just have to let us know. I don't think we as a board.
Do the hotels open?
Do you know?
Yeah, they're so sorted. Last Friday.
Last Friday.
No, but you know what? Unlike a lot of these other, there are.
This is a hard location to get to. But Angela, the early registration has already passed. It opened. I know that early registration because it goes up after a while. We don't.
No. January 10th.
I mean, I would like to attend because none of us attended the state conference, and I think we should be represented. It's busy time, but I put my in.
Okay, so I don't know, next.
Early registration ends?
No, it just.
No, there's no.
Oh, there's no.
Hotels get sold out so quickly, and
No.
hotels go
The hotels get taken quickly.
Any hotel you want to stay in gets taken.
And the registration rates keep climbing.
Conference fee after January 10th goes up $50.
That's what I meant.
That's-
So January 10th,
Yes.
that's the registration.
That's what I'm saying. It's January 10th they go up. So, you know, we'll know, like I said, there's 3. So if you 3 send me an email, send whatever.
They're still doing it where you can't book the hotel unless you register. But we have 3 registrations in the system already?
No, in our system.
Oh, in our system.
Money's been put aside.
Okay, but we haven't
No
had
one is
this one.
registered. And also be aware, Matthew, that if you cancel, they charge us $125.
Right.
Maybe that even went up, I'm not sure.
Unless someone else takes your spot.
So, and you need to be registered, you get a number, and with that number, then you can make a hotel.
You can't book the hotels.
So Amani's going, Craig, and what's that?
I said I'll have to see.
Okay, can you just let us know as soon as possible? Just understand that that's what we have left is 3,200, so whatever, how it will be split up and divided, you know, should be probably about 1,200 between meals, hotel, and car service if you need it, be about 1,200 anyway, so, all right, so get back to us as soon as possible. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Let's take that as a no. All right, so here we are. Total participation in any school district business. This session, it is currently not started. The session will last a half an hour. If you have any comments with respect to any school district business, please step up to the podium, state your name, school affiliation, in 3 minutes to address the board with respect to your comments. Pursuant to policy, of course, no discussion or comments regarding any specific district personnel or student. That's pursuant to policies 1230, 1400, and 3240. Anybody? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close that portion of the meeting. Superintendent's comments.
I have a few brief comments. I'd like to thank the PPS ladies for being present for the presentation. And one of the statements that they had within the presentation talked about the commitment to academic behavioral supports. And I think if you look at the quality of the presentation in written form and as presented, I think it demonstrates the commitment to making this work. And so I just wanted to thank all of you for what you do on a daily basis and for being here tonight and sharing with the board what it is that you do and what your goals are. With respect to the high school men, and ladies over here and men over here, thank you for the presentation. Pat, maybe you can share a little bit with the other guys next year or something, but with respect to their presentation, if you have a chance to go back and take a look at the presentation, to me, it's truly amazing the opportunities that our kids have in high school. You know, the staff is outstanding, and what the kids have for opportunities is really amazing. And we're expanding on that each year. You know, we added an AP computer class last year. We're adding another one this year. You see the biomedical offering that we're going to have. But it's not just at that end of the spectrum either. We have our 9th grade that we're trying to address meeting their needs. And that's something that, since we started the CSEP, I think 4 years ago, Pat has struggled with and has constantly evaluated that program. He's not happy with it at the end of each year, and sometimes he tweaks it, sometimes he blows it up and does something different. What I think you heard from both of them, though, both groups tonight, they look at the data to support what they're doing. And sometimes they're humbled and they have to be honest with the data. To Marlise's question to Mel about RTI. No, we don't have that perfect triangle like we would on or square that you said later on. And at the very beginning of the presentation, we admitted that we had a goal to reduce, or it was couched in terms of improved efficiency, but really it was to reduce referrals. And we didn't meet that goal. High school blew the top off the roof with the Common Core 11th grade English, but didn't hit it with the Common Core geometry. But they broke it down, circles, proofs, and they will address it. They will try to meet the needs of our students. And there was one slide in particular that I really enjoyed, and it was about STEAM. We talk about STEM loosely, but it's really about STEAM. And if you have a chance to go back and look at that slide and the subsequent slide with the drawings, I was in the room when the one lady or the one girl was working on the skull and the musculature. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Maybe Marlise or Monty can tell me if it is. But the attention to detail that those kids have, it was just quite remarkable. But on that list, the Project Lead the Way, the computer science editions, the medical illustrations, the recurring themes, and I know Kim Cleary has left, but to sit in that classroom where they have 3 different courses, they bring them together, and they're talking about their English lit, and they're talking about the English history or European history. What's the third one, Pat? Art history. And how they connect those 3 things, it's just, I feel like I'm in a college classroom, the way the kids express themselves and the quality of teaching in there as well. The forensic science, the CSI class is great. STIR, maybe next time when Irene is in here, our student reporter, she can tell you about her STIR project, which it's about 20 words long, just the title, but it's extraordinarily impressive what they do in there. Cambridge, the projects that they're working on now, I had the privilege of being in there a couple of weeks ago. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. And then the robotics team, always do a wonderful job. But it's just, that one slide really captured it for me because it's just been such a privilege to go into those classrooms and see what work they do and their pride in where one of the slides, earlier slides, says we are suffering. So in terms of talking about the name change to brand our school district, to give us a unique identifier, I think the kids have kind of described that for us. It's something for the board's consideration. So, I'm extremely impressed with the PPS division and what they do, high school, and the faculty. Not many faculty left, it's late and I'm rambling, but I'm just extraordinarily impressed. I want to thank both groups on that. I do want to let you know, as a board, next meeting for the CSIP, we'll hear from the middle school, and then we'll hear from Montebello at that meeting. And there's a lot of work that goes into the presentation, and then they have their plan themselves, but they have to sit down and kind of run a gauntlet with me and Lee and then members from the PPS staff, because we want to make sure that they have all the support in place. We take a look at, did you meet your goals from last year? Pat said we did in some, but not in all. The discipline report, that went up. Overall, it looks okay, but it went up. And we met with Brian Fox yesterday, and we have Teresa tomorrow. And Brian, did you hit that goal? No, I didn't hit that goal. But it's not just no, then they explain it. They drill down and they're looking at, not excuses, but explanations as to what the data tells them, and then looking at a research-based way to address it. So I've been very impressed thus far, and I think you have some really outstanding principals, staff, support staff, and we're trying to meet the needs of all students. So you'll see the middle school next time, along with Montebello. Athletics report will be here, and it's kind of a 2-pronged approach where Andy and Teresa Isolde will give the financial part of it, and then Andy will talk about all the different teams. And we may have an additional report on non-residents, number of non-residents that are coming to school here, and we're actually working on a communication on that, because some of the non-resident parents that are wanting to come to school here, they're amazing parents and amazing kids. So I think you'll be very pleased with the information you hear on the non-resident report. And so I guess I've gone on for about 7 minutes. I apologize, it's late, but I think we should be very impressed with the quality of staff and instruction that we have in our district. So thank you all.
Thank you.
I have a quick question before we adjourn. Do we need to take a vote on 403? Teresa? Do we need to
No, we
take a
can't
vote?
vote, we have to, if, we can't vote at
Right.
everything.
Do we need to take a vote
Let's
before I
see,
know?
we have to go to the next meeting.
Okay.
We need to know how many people want to go.
Okay.
All the numbers, and all that, whatever, you know, who's not going.
Bye.
But we just need, yeah,
Okay.
discuss.
It'll be on the next agenda.
Yes. No, it wasn't so bad. Anyway, motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Great. Clark.
Hey, Clark.
Not once did I do it. Teresa, second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.